And we just want to understand that he said the whole earth will be filled with his glory. That's Isaiah 6 verse 3. That's why we ended last week. He says, and one cried and another to another. These are the angels saying, "Holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." But we then read Habakkuk 2 verse 14. And in Habakkuk 2:14, this is another prophet. It says, "For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory." Please, notice these two standpoints. Habakkuk says the earth will be filled. Whereas Isaiah, who prophesied, now he is taken to heaven. I know it's a famous one. In the year King Uzziah died, and I saw the Lord. You think it's about the funeral.
Today Uzziah has died. No, Uzziah did not die. He did not die. You are the one who's supposed to die, so that you will be alive when your flesh is dying. You will be revealed when uzovezwa.
So he says, then the angels that were revealing this to him. They started worshiping God, saying, "Holy, holy, holy." Verse 3. Holy is the Lord of hosts. Now when they refer to the host there, they are referring to the generals. They are referring to the angelic, the angels. They're saying, "He is holy, holy is the Lord." He is even their Lord. And he says the whole earth. He's not saying will be. No man, awufunde kwelezulu kukhona bangibhinyela amehlo manje ngathi abayizwa lento. Awufunde kwelezulu ngoba abanye bayakhathazeka.
Elinye lamemeza kwelinye lathi, "Ungcwele, ungcwele uSimakade wamabandla. Wonke umhlaba ugcwele inkazimulo yakhe."
Akathi umhlaba uyodwala.
It does not say the earth will be filled.
Kubalekile njengekholo.
It is very important as a believer
ukuthi iposition omi kuyo
that your position that you are standing
ukwazi
in,
ukuyichachisa uinterpret ngendlela eyiyo.
you must be able to explain and interpret it accordingly.
No, Prophet Nomkosi says earlier, she for once she calls both. She says these are Noma Gugus. These are their first names, obviously. It
is very good to be a prophet because you can call an elderly person by name. When I grow up, I also want to be a prophet.
Now, she says something very, very important which some of us could have missed. The first Nomagugu who testifies about her trip, we just celebrate. She is over 80 years old. Yes, I said correctly. She is over 8 years. But I'm not sure some of you are aware that she is still working, employed. Yabona gogo abasindisiwe. Wena wakho uyathakatha le emakhaya baqedile
My father is actually bewitching in the rural areas while others are working.
Okay, that came out wrongly. Sorry. But she doesn't look at herself as a finished. She looks at herself as a child of God. You might consider the numbers,
ungayicabanga noma ubheke
but she
inombolo
sees herself first in the spirit
kodwa
realm
yena uqala ngokuzibheka
and
kwelikamoya
operates according to what she
ebese
sees.
ziphatha ngokwalokhu
So while
akubonayo
you and me are looking at, she's over 8
mina nawe
years
sabona
old,
ukuthi uneminyaka engaphezu ka-8
and she says, who is over
uthi
80?
yena ubani oneminyaka
And
engaphezu
she's not asking you, she's proving it.
akakubuzi wena uyakuveza
And some of you
uyaqinisekisa
are so much in financial debt that you can't wait to become 60 and take.
abanye benu baseyikweletini ngale ndlela ukuthi abasakwazi ukulinda ze bafike eminyakeni engamashumi ayisithupha
Some of you are so indebted that you can't
abanye
wait
benu
to become
baney'kweletu
60
abasakwazi
so that you
ukulinda
can
ukuthi
you
babe
can
na
take the
60
pension
ukuze
money.
bezothola imali yempesheni.
Let's look at our true identity based on who God says we are
Ake sizibheke thina ngokwalokhu uNkulunkulu
and
athi siyikho.
understand what God is saying
Bese
about
siyaqonda
your life.
lokhu
So,
uNkulunkulu akushoyo
I was-
ngempilo zethu.
these two prophets are not contradicting one another.
Labo
Please don't.
prophethi bobabili abaphikisana.
Habakkuk is focusing on the knowledge of God.
uHabakuk ubheke kakhulu
He
ekwazini
says,
uNkulunkulu.
then the whole earth will be filled with the knowledge.
Uthi umhlaba wonke uzogcwalisa ngolwazi likaNkulunkulu.
But the knowledge, the whole earth already is filled with the knowledge.
Kodwa umhlaba wonke vele usugcwalisile ngolwazi
But
likaNkulunkulu.
the problem is, if our eyes are closed, Proverbs 25 verse 2,
Inkinga ukuthi ke uma amehlo ethu evaliwe
it
ngokwa
takes
Proverbs
a
25,
believer.
kuthatha umuntu okholwayo.
Hey, Proverbs 25 verse 2.
Izaga
It
25 verse
takes
2.
a child of God
Kwenza ukuthi umntwana
to
kaNkulunkulu
search out the matter.
kube uyena
Because the
obhekisisa
glory
udaba.
of God is to conceal what He has already said.
Ngoba
ready.
inkazimulo kaNkulunkulu kuba mboze
So
noma
your
afihle
first
lokho
part is
asekubekile.
opening up your spiritual eyes, search out the matter,
Indima yakho ke ukuba wena ubheke lokho
discover the
okufihlile.
matter,
Bese uyahlonza
and
lokho
then
udouble
go after it.
ebese
See
uyakulandela.
God manifesting.
Ubona uNkulunkulu
So,
ezambulu.
some of us, we walk along having missed this part.
Abanye bethu bahambile begeje le ndawo.
Do you know that a number of times
Ngabe uyazi ukuthi ezikhathini eziningi
believers are exceptional pretenders?
abakholwayo abantu abagcwele ukuzenzisa.
I've seen ministers, abafundisi.
Ngibonele
I've
abafundisi.
seen even someone elevated to a level of leading
Ngibona
believers.
omunye mayiphakanyiswa ebekwa kwizinga lokhola abakholwayo.
Yet when you sit down and having a conversation, you discover that this one is not even saved.
Kodwa uthi uma uhlala naye phansi uxoxisana naye bese uyabona ukuthi lo muntu akasindisiwe nakancane.
Never received Jesus as the Lord and
Akakaze
Savior.
amamukela uJesu njengenkosi nomsindisi wakhe.
So the lifestyle at home,
Indlela asiphatha ngayo noma
At
phela ngayo
work,
ekhaya
in the
nasemsebenzini
community,
emphakathini.
versus what he does at church
Uma
are
siqhathanisa
contradicting.
nalokho akwenzayo ebandleni kuyaphikisana.
But Zalani, church is not about acting.
Ibandla limayelana nokuzenzisa.
Ukukholwa kungakho ukuzenzisa.
Church or believing is not about
Wenze
acting.
sengazathi manje wena
Acting as
uyamphila
if you
uNkulunkulu lapha
live
kwethu.
God or according to God in front of
Ngaphakathi
us.
ugcwele ukubola.
But inside we are filled with
Uthi wena
filth.
ufuna ukuveza yibo lenkazimulo evezayo.
Which glory that you want to reveal.
noSathane phela unaye yakhe.
Even the enemy or the devil
Asaqaphela
does
uhlobo
have the
lenkazimulo
glory.
esithi sikhazimulisa abantu.
We must
We must be watchful over whose splendor are we revealing.
kumele siqaphele ukuthi uluphi uhlobo lwenkazimulo
Because Satan also has his own type of
ngoba
splendor.
naye uSathane unalo uhlobo lwakhe
You
lenkazimulo.
can call it evil when it stands against you.
Ungabiza ngathi inkazimulo embi
But
uma
when
imelene
it
nawe.
works for you, you will
Kodwa
say it's
uma
not evil.
ikusebenzele, ngeke usho ukuthi
But
inkazimulo
we will
embi.
look at the works and who's the father and who's actually at strengthening.
Uzobheka imisebenzi
Who's
bese ubheka
actually
nobaba
empowering
wakhe,
those
nomuntu
acts.
ogcwalisa noma onika amandla okwenziwa
And
kwalowo
so
msebenzi.
we have this, some of you think it's just
Abanye
a
benu bacabanga ukuthi
casual
nje into
instruction at the end of our services.
umyalo nje ojwayelekile oba semva
You think
kwenkonzo.
it's just casual when we say,
Ucabanga ukuthi into nje
just greet
sijwayelekile.
about 4 or 5 people, give them a warm,
Uma sithi awubingelela
loving
abantu
hug.
abane abahlanu ubahange
Wena bese ubumba lo mlomo wakho ucijile
and
uphuma
you just keep
ngomnyango.
quiet, you go exit through the door.
And uyabona lo muntu noma singashumayela
You
kangakanani
can
la
see that no
ubengekho
matter
la.
how much we can preach, but it
Lalela,
has no impact
asichazwa
in this
ukuthi
person's
ugcwalisa
life.
itulo.
We are not.
Sichazwa sibusiswe ukuthi wena
We
uphendukile.
are blessed by the fact that you have changed and you have been
So lento
transformed.
oyiyo la.
So what you are in this
Uma
place,
sikhuluma nomndeni wakho
when you
ekhaya la
speak or
uhlala khona.
communicate with your family where
Uyiyo
you are
na.
residing, are you
Noma-
what you are revealing in church?
And so when ngicabanga these young guys,
Laba
when
abasebancane,
ucabanga ukuthi ngasikhathi uze
you
enkonzweni
think that when you come to church,
umama nombaba wakho
your
bayajabula
mother
nje
or
wena
your father
right
are
ebese
happy and you are
uyaphuma ngapha
fine.
ngasese
And
uyoyijolela
you go outside, you go
uphinde
and
ubuye
date,
ukwenze
and you come
konke
back
okwenziwa
and do
ngabantu abasha la
everything
enkonzweni
the youth is doing in the church.
kodwa ngasese uyajola strong wena
But privately you are
yazini
dating
ithi
to the
ngikuhlebele
zenith.
lo nyaka
Let me
unomkhuba
whisper this to
omubi
you.
ngoba ngibona
This year has a
uJehova
tendency that
ephindaphinda yonke into esiyenzayo
God will multiply everything that we do.
so uma unikela ngimbone ekuphindaphinda
So
nalokho
if you are offering God, I saw God
angazi
multiply.
ngoba
your
lokhu
offering.
ngaphakathi uma ujola ukuthi yini
I'm not
lezophindaphinda
sure if you are dating what it is that will be multiplied.
no angiqondile ukukhuba kodwa ngizolikhuluma
I don't mean
iqiniso
to offend you, but it is good to
so
be frank
awucabangi
and
wena
be
ucawuthi
honest.
ucawuthi ne-boyfriend yodwa wathola u4 ngoMarch
You'll
April
be surprised to find out that you will have 4 boyfriends by
phela wena
March.
usahlukene namathaya emoto awuphumuli wena
You are not different from the tires. You are not resting at all.
uhlala nje ugijima awuphumuli
You are
phela
always
lo nalo
running.
ufuna isikhathi sakhe la kuwe
Everyone is
wedwa no unyaka okuphindaphindwa kwezinto
This
unyaka
is the year of
wenkazimulo
multiplication and it's the year
so
of glory.
uJehova ukhulula uyaphindaphinda
So
kuyona
God
yonke
will
into
release and
esiyenzayo
multiply
kuyona
everything that you
kusona
are
sonke
doing.
isinyathelo
In every
sithathayo
step that you are taking,
funeke sambule
it
inkazimulo
must
yakhe
reveal His glory.
so imfihlo Isaka 3 verse 5
The secret
verse
is
6 ithi
in the
kukona
Proverbs.
konke ukuhamba kwakho mazise yena
In all your work, you must
Acknowledge.
acknowledge God.
so imfihlo elayitheni uma ngazi ngathi isinyathelo nesinyathelo
The secret is
engisithathayo
in knowing that in each and every step that I take,
ngisithatha ngokuzethemba
I
confidence
take this step with
ngazi ukuthi
confidence,
uJehova ukuso nalesi
knowing that
sinyathelo
God is in this step that I'm taking.
so uma ngabe ubudlala isonto
So if
angazi
you are
lezo
playing
phinda
church, I don't know what
So,
it is that will be multiplied.
emndenini wakho sebeza bafuna ukuze enkonzweni
So in
ngenxa
your
yakho nje
family, they
wena
don't want to come to church just because of you.
so kubanye abazalwane engibakhubile
To
umoya
other
ngcwele
believers that
asikhombisa
have
bona
offended, the Holy Spirit was telling me
akusiphutha
about this.
ngangibuza nje kubazalwane
It
ngilana
wasn't a mistake. I was inquiring
Manje,
from the believers that
uma ujola sewu over 50
Maybe
sewu over 45
if you are over 35 years of age and you are still dating,
ujolela inini
why are you why are you dating?
no angiqondile ukukukhuba
I don't mean to offend you.
mina ngizama ukukuvusa
I'm
kulena
actually trying to
and
activate.
ngiyazi tena vele izwi linawo umkhuba ukuthi kuhlubule
I know that the word has the tendency
ngicela
to offend you,
uhlukanisa aliphumi ke kimi leli
but this word does not come from me.
4 5 8
Abane nje noma bayisihlanu.
phela wena uhalf wempilo yakho usuphilile
You have lived almost half of your life.
by now usuyithathile inqumo
By now you
usuyazi
have taken the
ubhekile
decisions and you know where you are heading to.
uqala phansi uyoqonywa
You are starting now to date.
uyoba baba muni
What kind of a father you will be?
hayi we are revealing God's glory
Wambula
unamanga
inkazimulo kaNkulunkulu.
you are revealing
uyalayi.
Satan's glory
Wena
wena
wambula inkazimulo kaSathane.
angiphathi kona ke mabe uganiwe ngoba
Not
uphuma
to
uyojola
mention
nje
to those who are married while they are dating.
so ay mawungowesimame ke
If you are a
yazi
woman,
ukuthi
just know that
amathuba ukuthi lo baba uganiwe
the chances
maningi
that the person you are dating is married,
maningi amathuba ukuthi lo baba umjola naye
that the
uganiwe
person that you are dating is married.
uma engaganiwe ufuna umbuzo wayehleleni
If that person is not married, you must ask him why he is not.
wayelindeni
What was he waiting for?
no angiphumile ezweni ungakhathazeki
Amen.
you know when we started this we spoke about
siqala kuleli viki,
heaven invading earth
Sikhulumeke ngezulu
so
lingena
we,
emhlabeni.
we
noma lilawule
read
emhlabeni.
Matthew chapter 6 verse 9 and 10
Sifunda incwadi kaMateyu
the
chapter
prayer
6
that
verse
Jesus
9 and
teaches
10.
the church
Umkhuleko uJesu awufundisa
where he
ibandla.
says Our Father who lives in heaven,
la khona ethi baba wethu ohlala ezulwini
hallowed be your name.
malingcweliswe igama lakho
Your kingdom come.
mawufika umbuso wakho
Your will
intando yakho
has to be done here on earth.
kumele yenziwe lapha emhlabeni
Exactly. So in simple terms, okay,
ngamafuphi
this part usually confuses us.
lengxenye ijwayele ukusidida
When we say, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven,
uma ethinta inkazi intando yakho
we
yenziwe emhlabeni
put
njengoba yenziwe
ourselves
ezulwini
in a position
thina siyibeka kwindawo
that actually reveal our true understanding or maturity in the matters of the kingdom. Let me
eyambula
say this.
ukuqondisisa kwethu kahle
Because
noma ukukhula
it means
embusweni kaNkulunkulu
What you are praying for
lokho okhulekelayo
is what has been revealed to you.
ilokho osuwambulelwe
It
khona
is what you have seen.
ilokho osukubonile
So you saw that in heaven I look like this.
ubonile ukuthi ezulwini
Or
ngibukeka kanje
my situation looks like
noma
this.
isimo sami ngokwasezulwini
But when
sibukeka
you
kanje
switch to the flesh,
kodwa uma usushintsha wena
you
uze
see
enyameni
that it doesn't reflect what you
uyabona
just
ukuthi
saw
lokho
in heaven.
kusenyameni akuvezi lokho
And
okubone
so you
ezulwini
say, what I just saw in
ubusuthi
heaven,
ke lokho engikubonile ezulwini
let
lokho
it be
engiqeda
what
ukubona
the
ezulwini
earth does.
akube yilokho umhlaba okuvezayo
So in heaven, I know that if heaven is not a physical place, even to God,
uma izulu kuyindawo engaphatheki
that is, we're
nakuNkulunkulu.
saying, even to God, heaven is spiritual.
La sithi khona ngisho naNkulunkulu izulu lingelomoya
It means that what we are praying for
kusho ukuthi lokhu ke sikhulekelayo
has to manifest on earth in the spiritual form.
kumele kuveze kuvele emhlabeni ngokukamoya
But there's a problem with that
kodwa
understanding.
kunenkinga ngalokho kuqonda
Because when you need it in the physical
ngoba
form,
wena udinga ekutheni kube into ephathekayo enyameni
yes. Okay, let me break it down.
ake ngithi ukucacisa ka
It's one thing
kwenye into
to declare I am rich,
ukuthi mina ngicebile umemezela uthi ngicebile
and then Satan immediately says,
ebese khona manje uSathane athi
hey, but you don't have money.
wena kodwa unayo inkece
And you're saying, yeah, I do have money.
uthi mina nginayo imali
And
okanye
Satan
inkece.
immediately takes you to your bank account.
uSathane akuthatha kuyise kwi-account yakho yasebhangi
Yeah, like it is January.
njengoba kuyiminyanga kamasingana
He takes you straight into your bank account.
akuthatha kuyise ngqo kwi-account yakho
And
yasebhangi
you look at the last transaction you made, you
ebese
like,
uyabuka nje imali oqeda ukuyikhipha bese uthi
you cannot now continue
awusakwazi
pronouncing,
manje
I'm
ukuqhubeka
rich.
usho ukuthi mina
because
ngicebile
he's showed you in the physical.
ngoba usekuvezile enyameni
Has
ngokuphathekayo.
caused you to shift from the spiritual.
sekwenze lokho wasuka ke kumoya
Let the weak say, I am strong.
obuthakathaka akathi
Let
mina
the poor
nginamandla.
say, I am rich.
nohluphekayo akathi mina ngicebile
Manje uSatan to know namanga.
but the enemy is saying no you are
Uyabona nje lento
lying.
yezwi vele la iniqhaphaza
This
khona.
thing of word is
Usho kanjani
misusing.
ukuthi ke na ucebile
How can you say
unothile?
that you are rich and
Ibi
you have
account
wealth
yakho iveza
while your bank account is
o
revealing
minus
minus
0.03 cent.
0.03 cent?
Uma ukuthi ukhokhela umuzi
When you
nemoto
are paying
nanani,
for your
uma
house
uthi
and your car,
uyihlanganisa
when
lezi
you
zinto
try to
kwi-banking yakho basathe
conjoin this, you can see
ngikweleta 1.2 million.
I'm
No, I'm
actually
not
owing
rich.
1.2 million, so angicebile nakancane.
But you are already contradicting what God said.
Kodwa wena usuvele uphikisana.
Now, what
uphikisana
actually happened
lokhu
was,
uNkulunkulu akushilo.
you
Okwenzekile
switched
ukuthi usukile.
Directly from what you said was spiritual.
Wasuka ngqo kulokho othe wena
And you
okukamoya.
said, but in the physical.
Wasuthi kodwa enyameni.
Meaning, you've said whatsoever is in the spiritual
Kusho ukuthi uthe
cannot
nanoma
manifest in the
lokho
physical.
kwekamoya kwazi ukubonakala enyameni.
So it means everything you prayed for
Kusho ukuthi yonke into oyikhulekele
is null and void.
ayinamsebenzi walutho.
So it has to come to a position where
kumele kufike endaweni
you
lapho
are able,
ukwazi
what I see in the spirit
ukuthi lokho okubonayo
is what
kumoya
I pronounce on the
kube
physical.
yilakho ozokusho
Exactly
enyameni.
what I see in heaven
Lokho okubona
is what
kusezulwini
I see in the natural.
kube yilokho
Now
okuzobona
the
enyameni.
world has no choice
Umhlaba ke
because
awunakho
you've
ukuzikhethela
made a choice
ngoba wena usukhethile
on behalf of the physical
ukuthi
that
esikhundleni
what God
sokwasenyameni
showed you is exactly what is happening happening.
kuzovela lokhu uNkulunkulu
And so there's
akuvezile.
manifestations. And so you begin to move no longer by the
Uyaqala
numbers.
ke manje uhambe ungahambi ngezinombolo.
So I want to purchase this.
Ngifuna ukuthenga lokho.
You don't look at the bank account.
Awubheki ibank
You
account.
look at what God said.
Ubheka lokhu
You
uNkulunkulu
search for
akushilo.
His will.
Ucinga
And
noma
once you
ubhekisisa
find
intando
His
yakho.
will,
Uma usuyibonile
if He
intando
says
yakho,
go for it,
uma ethi hamba
you are saying
ukuthola.
on earth exactly as He said it in
Akube
heaven.
semhlabeni njengoba uNkulunkulu eseshilo ngokwasezulwini.
So the life of a believer
Impilo yomuntu
should
okholwayo
not be controlled
akumele ilawulwe
only by the world's banking system
ngokwalokhu noma ngwebanking
that
system
tells you how
yasemhlabeni.
much you
Okuyiyona
are, how
ekutshela
much you're
ukuthi
worth. You
unenani
actually are
elingakanani.
worth way much more than what your bank
Wena
says you
kuningi
are.
okufanele noma ufanele okukhulu kunalokho okushiwo ibhenki lakho.
And so there's this angle also in Numbers chapter 14 which we read.
Kule ndawo kunale ngxenye etholakala encwadini kaNumeri chapter 14.
Because I'm saying you prayed
Ngithi ukuye wakhuleka
and God answered.
uNkulunkulu waphendula.
Then there's this level. If you can read for me from verses 20 to 23, which we read last week. I needed to break this down.
Then the Lord said, I have pardoned according to your word. But truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord.
Yes.
Because all these men who have seen my glory and the signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have put me to the test now, these 10 times, and have not heeded my voice, they certainly should not see the land which I swore to their forefathers, nor shall any of those who rejected me see it.
Okay, the title of Numbers chapter 14. When if you still have this Bible in the paper form,
Uma usaneleli iBhayibheli elibhalwe phansi.
it says Israel refuses to enter Canaan.
Isihloko sakhona sithi uIsrael uyala ukungena eKhanani.
Imagine.
Awucabange.
These people have prayed all their lives. Look,
Labantu bekhuleka impilo yabo yonke.
Israel, let me put this to picture. Israel was in Egypt for more than 400 years.
Ake ngikwakhela isithombe salokho uIsrael ohlele eGibhithe iminyaka engaphezu ka400.
They were there for 440 years.
Babe lapho iminyaka engu440.
Now, they were supposed to be there only for 400 years,
Kwakumele babe lapho iminyaka engu400.
based on Genesis 17.
NgokukaGenesis
But
17.
now they are stuck. Okay, we'll leave the disobedience or the rushing of the leader.
Sizoyeka le ndawo la bengalalenga
Because
bengalalelanga
there's
khona.
also another danger, ministers, of being ordained before your time.
Ngoba kunomgozi la khona uordainwa singakafika isikhathi sakhe.
Because Aaron understood who he was, that he was older than Moses, and he must have whispered to him, listen, you are the one who has to take us out of the
Ngoba
country.
uAaron uyena okumele amtshele ukuthi wena okumele usikhiphe usise
But
eKhanani.
the flesh
Kodwa inyama
could not wait for God to say go.
ayikwazanga ukulinda uNkulunkulu
And
ukuthi
so Moses
azathi ha.
take matters into his own natural hands,
uMoses
flesh,
wayithathela izinto
and he finds
ngezandla
himself
zakhe.
on the other side of the desert.
Wayithola ke manje sekolunye
But
uhlangothi
let's look at
lokwaduma.
these 400 years while they're in Egypt.
Ake sibheke leminyaka engamakhulu amanye bese
The first 40 years,
iminyaka engamashumi amane
they
yokuqala
know that they are not there permanently.
bayazi ukuthi abazuba lapho
But they
phakade.
know, as for their father Jacob,
ngokwababa wabo
he
uJakobe
knows that he won't leave Egypt alive.
uyazi ukuthi akazuphuma eGibhithe
Check
ephila.
Genesis 49 and chapter 50 very well.
Mawucheka kwincwadi kaGenesis
Because there
50,
he
49
instructs them, he tells them, if I die,
uyabatshela ukuthi uma mina
when the
ngishona,
time comes, please
uma kufika isikhathi,
do not let my bones rest in this country.
ningawashiya ningavumela amathambo amasale kulo
Also,
mhlaba.
Joseph also said the same thing in chapter
uJosepha
50.
naye waphinda washo into efanayo.
So that's why when they left Egypt, they took their bones.
Ingakho uma besuka bephuma eGibhithe bathatha amathambo abo.
This part.
Le ngxenyana.
So it means they taught from generation to
Kusho
generation.
ukuthi bafundisa kwizizukulwane kuya
At least
kwizizukulwane.
for 10 generations,
Okungenani izizukulwane eziyishumi.
God will take us out of this country.
Befundisa lezi izizukulwane ukuthi uNkulunkulu
We
uzosikhipha
will
kule
go
ndawo.
back to a country, in fact, that God has for us.
Sizohamba sibuyele ezweni uNkulunkulu asibekele lona.
So they already know the country is flowing with milk and
Sebeyazi ukuthi
honey,
lelo zilugcwele noma lichichima ubisi noju.
the things that they wanted.
Bayazi zonke
So
lezi
they
zinto
know that
abebeyifuna.
they will enjoy the farmlands
Bayazi
and
ukuthi
and the
bazothakasela
multiplication
indawo
from God.
zokulima, kanti
they
nokuphinda
even know about the history of their forefather Jacob.
ngisho nangomlando wokhokho babo
that
uJakobe,
whatsoever he possesses
ukuthi nanoma yikuphi onakho
multiplies.
kuyaphinda
So
phinda.
they know that whatsoever is in their hands will
Babazi ukuthi
multiply.
nanoma yiphi into esezandleni
They
zabo
more
izophinda
like
phindeka.
if God ever gets us to how much more if God gets us to that place.
Babathi kuyoba njani ke uma uNkulunkulu esifikisa kuleyo ndawo.
Now, I can tell you they prayed as long as they lived.
Ngingakutshela ukuthi nje inqobo besaphila
God
babelokhu
caused
bekhuleka.
us to enter the promised
Bethi
land
Nkosi,
while I'm
senze
still
ukuba
alive.
singene ezweni lesethembiso
Now they are at
sisaphila.
the edge of the country.
Manje basesendaweni emngceleni wezwe.
They can see where they are going.
Bayakwazi
They
ukubona
are
la beya
almost there.
sebelapho.
They have traveled for 2 years. 2
Basebehamba
years.
iminyaka emibili.
They're supposed to be getting there.
Kwase kumele bafike bona
And
ezweni
the
lesithembiso.
report from the spies,
Umbiko walaba
because
bebeyohlola
with the
izwe.
things of God, here's the problem.
Ngoba nayo inkinga ngezinto zikaNkulunkulu.
Majority does not rule.
Akubusi iningi.
Because of the 12 spies that are sent,
Ngoba laba inhlolo eziyishumi
only
nambili
2 are bringing a positive information.
ezimbili kuphela ezeletha ulwazi oluzosiza oluzosiza
Now, if
abama-Israyeli.
only 30% or 33%
Uma
of
ke
those who
30%
went,
noma 33% walaba abahamba
surely
beyohlola
the
izwe.
66.7 is like, no, guys, they are going to finish us off.
66.7 babethi bona labantu
Do you
bazoqeda ngathi.
believe those who are agreeing with God,
Ukholwa labo
the 33%,
abavumelana noNkulunkulu oku-30%,
or you choose the
noma
70%?
ukhetha u-70% ukuvumelana no-70%.
So they refused.
Banqaba
So I'm
noma
saying
bala.
they prayed.
Ngithi ke bakhuleka.
And it was time for them to enter the
Kwase
promises.
kuyisikhathi sokuba bangene ezweni
They said, no,
lesithembiso.
I'd rather go back to my pain.
Bathi ngeke okungcono singabuyela
Than the
ebuhlungwini bethu
promise.
kunokuthi siye kwisithembiso.
So let me put you on the spot as a believer.
Ake ngikubeke obala njengomuntu okholwayo.
What is it that you've been praying for that you want God to have it removed in your life?